The day the Germans stopped pushing, on December 5th, the day after the Germans stopped pushing, the Red Army counterattacks. Okay? The Red Army counterattacks. And this is a massive offensive. The Soviets counterattack, as I say, on December 5th. And they try to do to the Germans what the Germans always do. They try to encircle, right? They try to encircle the Germans. They're not really able to do this at this point. The Soviets aren't able to do this at this point. So they can't really encircle all the German army, but they do manage to destroy, smaller formations, but they can't really completely destroy the German armies. And then, like I said, there's several problems with the Soviet tactics here. First of all, the Soviets are kind of doing what the armies would do in World War I with their tanks, and that is they're diffusing them. They're using tanks as kind of infantry support, and they're using them in kind of smaller piecemeal roles. So their tanks are spread out. As the Germans have shown us, the way you do it is you concentrate your tanks, and you use it as just this big spear thrust, right? So the Soviets aren't doing that. They're diffusing their tank power here. And also, too, they're diluting their strength. Instead of just focusing on one or two big areas to push at, they're trying to push at too many places. So again, it further dilutes their strength. A big part of blitzkrieg tactics is you don't stop to take strong points. You bypass them. If the enemy's strong somewhere, you don't just stop to fight it. You go around it. You cut it off. You cut off its supplies, its communications, and that will make it easier to take later, right? That's blitzkrieg tactics. The Soviets don't do that. They hit a strong point, and they stop, and they concentrate, and they try to take it. And that buys your enemy time to shift his units around, right? So Soviet tactics are not good at this point. They're still not good. Also, too, by late 1941, the Soviets lack good tanks in numbers. They lack good tanks in numbers. They have quite a few light tanks. In fact, as I mentioned, they have many of those British tanks. And they're still using cavalry. They're still using horse cavalry here. These things are far too weak to create the big kind of pincer enveloping movements that the Germans are famous for here. So they are advancing, and they are causing problems, but they're not destroying German field armies. They're not destroying German field armies the way the Germans had destroyed Soviet field armies. But critically here in Moscow, they're learning. The Soviets are learning. And the lessons they learn here in Moscow are going to pay off greatly a year later, as we will see at Stalingrad. Now, the Soviets inflict significant casualties. They do manage to move the front further west from Moscow. And as the Germans are kind of forcing to fall back west somewhat, temperatures are dropping significantly. Temperatures are dropping significantly.